You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad you can join me on another podcast of All Things Sports with Mike Davis. I thank you for including my podcast to your day or your night. Whenever you decide to listen, it's up to you. If you're listening on the Spotify side of things, go ahead and follow the podcast. If you're on the YouTube side of things, please subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Go to the social media links in the description box to get in contact with the show for comments or suggestions. I won't take up much more of your time. Let's get into it. Hey guys, I got a great podcast for you today. But before I get into it, I wanted to speak on a comment that I recently saw on one of my videos. Somebody recently said they didn't like my take. They said my take was horrible on Trevor Lawrence getting married. I remember making the Trevor Lawrence video, but that was I won't say a while back, but I'm not sure how you ended up on the Trevor Lawrence video, but but you know, I'm not mad at the guy. You know, it's your opinion. I tell you that it's your opinion. I state my opinion, and I stand by my opinions. You know, I made a video about Trevor Lawrence getting married. I don't understand why athletes continue to get married in this day and age. It makes no sense. I've been married before, and chances are I am probably never going to get married ever again. If I was to come into the money that these athletes make, I'm definitely not getting married ever again. But, you know, sometimes I think that a lot of us as men are blinded. You know, not saying all women, but some, you know, most really, not all, but most, you know, most have ulterior motives. And, you know, women, a lot of their instinct is survival based. And, you know, you see women that want to latch on to a guy who can provide for them. And, you know, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I do agree where, I guess hypergamy would be the word I'm looking for. I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, bring something to the table besides saying you're the table. That's all I'm saying. Look, I respect the guy from his comment on the Trevor Lawrence video, but again, I'm going to stand by what I said. I don't believe in marriage in this day and age. To me, it makes no sense to get married in 2021. It just is what it is, fellas. You see it. Okay. I'll be 40 years old next year. Chances are, my son is going to have to pick from one of these girls that at some point in time had an OnlyFans page. You know, it is what it is. You know, you might not like it, but the proof is in the pudding. And I'll leave it there. You can take that how you want to take it, but it is what it is. Hey, look, like I said, I got a great podcast for you today. I want to get into the topic of LeBron James. Let me know, is LeBron James panicking about his LA Lakers team? Now, I'm not going to be talking about something that you don't know. This is really about a week-old story, but LeBron James, you know, claimed that whoever came up with the play-in tournament should lose their job. Excuse me. Now, remember, I feel the same way about the play-in tournament as well as LeBron, but there's a difference, and we'll get to it. Now, LeBron went on to say that whoever came up with that ish needs to be fired. Now, a year ago, LeBron said he would enjoy a play-in tournament to determine the final playoff berths during the suspension of the 2019-2020 season. So, this is where LeBron loses me. You can't... I'll say it. Okay. All right, so look. Alex Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, and now LeBron James. There are people who sign off on the idea when they thought their team would be competing for home court advantage. Now suddenly they're against the format after a disappointing season. Now LeBron James is battling a hurt ankle, kind of like a high ankle sprain, saying that he'll never be 100% again. I recently saw that Jason Williams of ESPN said that he was disappointed in LeBron for making that statement, and that Michael Jordan would never say that. And I'm going to agree with Jay Williams on that. Look, Jordan once said himself that one of his greatest accomplishments is games played. And guys don't get it. Guys can care less now about GP. They want every other day off, and I just don't get it. Like I said, I agree with Jay Williams. At this time, look, we all know you're battling injuries. It's toward the end of the season. Everyone has these nagging injuries that are just going to be drawn out, and there's nothing you can do about it until the offseason comes. You're not going to recover until the offseason. Look at Scottie Pippen. We saw what happened with him in the documentary when the Bulls were going for their last championship run for ring number 6, and Scottie was hurt going into the offseason for his nagging injury, but he needed surgery, and you know the story. He decided to not have the surgery in the offseason. But my point is being that at the end of the season, everyone is dealing with something. Now, I will say a high ankle sprain is nothing to play with. I broke an ankle once before, and I tried telling myself it was a high ankle sprain until unfortunately I had to go to the hospital. And I had to get my ankle checked out because I couldn't walk. And I found out it was broken. So look, at the time that I'm recording this podcast, I have to say this because things might happen afterwards and things might shift and change. But at the time I'm doing this podcast, the Lakers sit 38-30. They're the 7th seed in the West. And look, LeBron feels the pressure. He does. This is a guy where this team goes as far as him and AD can take them. And this team is this team just wasn't constructed right. Because if you take out Bron and AD, team is horrible. And there's the whistle right there. The whistle sounded off until I was struggling with getting my thoughts out. But I think you get the gist of what the Lakers are as far as what I'm saying. Look, LeBron James knows that this team sucks. It is what it is. I know this team sucks. The team sucks with LeBron. The X factor is Anthony Davis, AD. Marc Gasol and Wes Matthews have been big disappointments. Dennis Schroeder is not going to lead you to the promised land. The guy who came over from the Clippers, Harold. Harold's been having an okay year. I wouldn't exactly call it a year where he stood out like he did in last season with the Clippers. This team is kind of a mess, but like I said, this team goes as far as Anthony Davis really takes them. I know LeBron is the guy. We saw what this team could do with when it was just LeBron. It's hurt in LA. They suck. And you're seeing them suck now. And so, look, LeBron, you can't say, and I know the whistle sounds, and I'm going to get out of this topic, but LeBron, you can't say that you're all for the play-in tournament last season, and then now this year, when your team is disappointing, and you have the possibility of playing in the play-in tournament, now you want to fire the guy that came up with it. I disagree with that logic. I don't like the play-in tournament, but I'm not going to say fire the guy who came up with that idea. LeBron really shouldn't have said what he said. And if you don't want to be in the play-in tournament, brother, you got to get out there and play. It is what it is. And I'll leave that there. And we'll switch over into the this day in sports history. May 13th, on this day, back in 1989, Minnesota Twins, Kirby Puckett became the 35th player to hit 4 doubles in a game. I don't think I've ever seen a guy hit 4 doubles in a game. That is quite a feat. And also on this day, May 13th, 1997, Eddie Murray is the 6th baseball player to play in 3,000 games. Number 6. Hey, look, short podcast, nothing was really going on. Sometimes it is what it is. Hey, look, that's all I got for you, folks. Hey, look, I thank you for including my short podcast into your day. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Go to the social media links in the description box to get in contact with the show for comments or suggestions. You can listen to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. And remember, it's your world. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm out. Peace.
You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.